The light from the sun takes about 8.5 minutes to reach us on Earth. Bet you knew that. Didn't know? Well, now you do. The distance between the sun and Earth keeps changing. That is because the Earth goes around a sun in an elliptical orbit and not a circular one, which would keep a constant distance, the radius, between the two stellar objects. For now, let's consider the average distance to be about 150 million kilometers. With the speed of light being 300,000 kilometers per second, it would take about 3.3 seconds to travel 1,000,000 kilometers. Now, if you have not bunked your math classes, you should be able to calculate and find the time taken for light to travel from Sun to the Earth. Well, on an average it takes about 8 minutes. Have you ever thought to yourself, how much time would it take the sunlight to travel from the core to the surface? Radius of the Sun is about 696,000 kilometers. If you do the math again, then it should take less than a second to reach the surface, right? This could have been the end of video, but God decided to make the universe super complex in a whole another level. You see, the fusion reaction happens in the core of the Sun. Photons released from this reaction are not exactly visible then. They are in a form also known as gamma rays. When these rays try to progress towards the surface, they collide with a lot of neutron and protons. Each collision would cause a drop in the amount of energy carried by the photon, slowly turning into an X-ray, into a UV ray, and by the time it has reached the surface it forms visible light and infrared radiations. So how long does it take a photon to ping-pong across all the neutrons and protons in its path, inside the Sun, until it reaches the surface? Here comes a form of mathematical cancer, called the random walk problem. The random walk problem gives us the formula distance equals the step size times the square root of the number of steps. According to which, if on one fine morning, you decided to get drunk and suddenly have the idea to step outside of your home and take special walk, where each step is 1 meter wide and could be any directions, considering the fact that you are disoriented, then it would take you 1,000,000 steps to make a displacement of 1 kilometer. Not to mention, the whole ordeal would last for 11 days, by which you should be past your hangover phase 2. Coming back to the Sun, if we consider that all the protons in the Sun are located at equal distances from each other, which comes out to be around 1 times 10 to the power of -10, then according to the random walk formula, the distance that the photon would have to traverse before reaching the surface would be 690,000 kilometers. And the time required to do that? 400 billion years. How is that even possible when the Sun itself is 4.6 billion years old? Like we mentioned before, the universe is too complex. You see, the mass in the Sun is not evenly distributed, it's denser towards the core and lighter towards the surface. Thus, the number of protons towards the core will be more than towards the surface. Also, photons with higher energy will tend to deflect from their path less than photons with low energy after colliding with a neutron. Putting all of these variables in the supercomputer, a value of 170,000 years comes out to be the time taken for a photon from the core of the Sun to reach the surface. Congratulations if you still have some unfried brain cells left after watching the video, and we would love to put the remaining few of them in use by watching another explified video and maybe learn something new. Like and share the video if you didn't knew that light from the Sun is about 170,000 years and 8 minutes older. Yeah, that's about when man first started to wear clothes.